fabled heat, where magic meets desire. Subscribe to ignite the fantasy.
The wind howled like a banshee outside the tavern, rattling the shutters and threatening to tear the very roof from its rafters. I shivered, pulling my shawl tighter around me. The fire in the hearth was doing its best, but even its warmth couldn't fully penetrate the stone walls of the Drunken Griffin on a night like this. Alara, my wife, bustled behind the bar, polishing tankards with her practiced hands, her movements as fluid and comforting as the ale she poured. Nyx, my other beloved, sat at a table near the fire, meticulously sharpening her daggers, the rhythmic scrape of steel on stone a counterpoint to the storm's fury. We were a peaceful little haven, just the three of us, tucked away at the edge of the Whisperwood, or we were, until it arrived. The tavern door slammed open, a gust of icy wind blasting through the room. Standing there, silhouetted against the swirling snow, was a figure that made my breath catch in my throat. It was clad in full-plate armor, the metal blackened and scarred as if it had seen centuries of battle. But it wasn't the armor that chilled me, it was what I didn't see. No face, no skin, nothing visible beneath the helmet's visor, just darkness. A voice, ancient and hollow, resonated from within the armor. I invoked the law of hospitality. The words hung in the air, heavy and immutable. The law was sacred, binding even the gods themselves. It demanded that shelter, food, and safety be offered to any who requested it, regardless of who or what they were. Breaking it was unthinkable. Alara stopped polishing, her hand frozen on a pewter mug. Nyx's daggers went still, her eyes narrowed, reflecting the firelight like a predator S. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to meet the empty gaze of the helmet. "The Drunken Griffin grants you hospitality," I said, the words feeling like lead in my mouth. "Enter, traveler." The figure moved, each step echoing with the mournful clang of metal. It moved with a disturbing grace, like a dancer who knows all the steps but has forgotten the music. It settled heavily at a table near the fire, the wood groaning under its weight. Alara and Nyx exchanged a look, a silent conversation passing between them. I knew what they were thinking. We were three women alone with a creature that was clearly not alive. This was a threat unlike any we had faced before. I approached the armored figure cautiously. "What is your name, traveler?" I asked. The hollow voice replied, "I have had many names. Now I am known only as Iron." Iron, a fitting name, I thought, for something so cold and unyielding. "What brings you to the Drunken Griffin, Iron?" Alara asked, joining me. Her voice was steady, but I saw the tension in her shoulders. "I seek rest," Iron said, "and information." "Information about what?" Nyx demanded, her daggers now laid on the table, her hand never straying far. "About the Shadowfell," Iron replied. "The Shadowfell, a cursed realm, a place of eternal twilight and lurking horrors, a place best left forgotten." "Why do you seek information about the Shadowfell?" I pressed. "That is my business," Iron said, its voice devoid of emotion. "Suffice it to say, I have a debt to repay." The night stretched on, long and tense. We offered Iron food, which it somehow consumed despite the sealed helmet. We offered drink, which vanished in the same impossible manner. We asked questions, but Iron answered only with cryptic pronouncements and veiled threats. As the days passed, a strange unease settled over the tavern. The atmosphere grew thick with unspoken fear. Alara found herself snapping at customers, Nyx became increasingly restless, and I felt a pull, a strange and unsettling fascination with our Iron guest. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of blood orange and bruised purple, I found myself drawn to Iron. It sat motionless by the fire, its presence a constant, brooding weight. "Why did you choose us?" I asked. "Why the Drunken Griffin?" Iron turned its helmeted head towards me, because I sensed something here, a resonance, a power. "What kind of power?" "The power to change fate," Iron said. "The power to defy destiny." I frowned. "I don't understand." "You will," Iron said, "soon." Then without warning, Iron reached out a gauntleted hand and grasped my wrist. The metal was cold, impossibly cold, and the touch sent a jolt of energy through my body. Images flooded my mind, ancient battles, crumbling cities, and a vast, unending darkness. A vision of the Shadowfell and something more asterisk. A connection, a bond, something that felt both terrifying and utterly right. I gasped, pulling my hand away. What was that? Iron remained silent, but I saw something flicker in the darkness behind the visor, a spark of something. Over the next few weeks, the visions grew stronger, more frequent. I saw Iron's past, its triumphs and its tragedies. I saw the burden it carried, the debt it sought to repay, and I saw the truth. Iron wasn't just an undead knight, it was a protector, a guardian against the encroaching darkness of the Shadowfell. It was bound to a terrible destiny, forced to walk the line between worlds, forever battling the forces that sought to consume them all. And I was somehow tied to that destiny, as were Alara and Nyx. One night Iron summoned us to its table. "The time has come," it said. "The Shadowfell is stirring. I need your help." "Our help?" Alara asked, her voice laced with suspicion. "We're just tavern keepers." "You are more than you know," Iron said. "You possess a power, a connection to the land, a resilience that will be vital in the coming battle." Nyx raised an eyebrow. "And what battle is that, exactly?" Iron gestured towards the window, where the swirling snow had begun to glow with an unnatural light. "The battle for the fate of this world, the battle for the survival of everything you hold dear." We looked at each other, a silent understanding passing between us. We had known, deep down, that this was coming, that Iron's arrival was not a coincidence. "What do you want us to do?" I asked. "I need you to open a portal to the Shadowfell," Iron said. "A portal only you can create." "And what if we refuse?" Alara challenged. Iron's voice took on a hard edge. "Then the Shadowfell will consume this world, and you will be powerless to stop it." We were trapped, bound by the law of hospitality, bound by our own growing feelings for Iron, and now, bound by the fate of the world. "How do we open this portal?" Nyx asked, her voice resigned. Iron told us of an ancient ritual, a series of incantations and sacrifices that would pierce the veil between worlds. It would be dangerous, it would be difficult, and it would change us forever. But we had no choice. As we began the ritual, chanting the forgotten words and offering the necessary sacrifices, I felt a strange energy coursing through my veins. Alara and Nyx, too, were glowing with an inner light. We were connected, not just to each other, but to Iron, to the land, and to the very fabric of reality. The air grew thick, the temperature plummeted, and the room filled with a blinding white light. Then, with a deafening roar, a portal opened before us, a swirling vortex of darkness and shadows. The Shadowfell. Iron turned to us, its helmeted head tilted in what I could only interpret as gratitude. "Thank you," it said. "You have done well." Then, without another word, it stepped through the portal, disappearing into the darkness. We stood there, stunned, watching as the portal began to shrink, the darkness receding. "What do we do now?" Alara asked, her voice trembling. I looked at my wives, at the fear and determination etched on their faces. I looked at the fading portal, at the promise of darkness and the faint hope of light. I knew what we had to do. "We go after him," I said. "We follow Iron into the Shadowfell." Alara and Nyx nodded, their resolve hardening. We were not just tavern keepers anymore. We were warriors, protectors, bound to an undead knight by fate, by duty, and by a growing, undeniable love. And we were ready to face whatever horrors awaited us in the darkness, because sometimes the most unexpected loves are forged in the heart of the deepest shadows. Our reverse harem, our love story with the undead knight had begun.